Let's do it.
What the heck did we just enter to? That was amazing. What's going on, everyone? Welcome to the NBA live show. I'm your host today, Javi Prellezo, Jay Prellezo DFS. We're here with Joe Metz. You can find him on Twitter at JMetz34. Your resident Bucks fan slash, I guess, Javi's Heat daddy, I guess we can call him, right?
Heat
the
daddy,
Heat are your daddy right now.
Right now, temporarily.
Temporary.
Yeah.
I mean, you won the championship, but hey, Joe, what's going on, man?
Doing well. Been a good NFL Sunday, but I right now I think just because NBA is so fresh, I'm really excited to dive in. I couldn't care about NFL now. NBA's here, so excited to dive into the 5-game main slate.
It's been a print fest lately. Listen,
Yeah.
I feel a lot of pressure coming on to me now because my last 2 articles have just been on spot on. And people have won at least 5 digits or more in every article. So now, Of course, I wrote today's article, so there's even more pressure for me. What the heck? But what do you think of? We'll go game by game today. I think we have enough time to do that. What are your thoughts on the original of the slate so far? I mean, we have some news. We'll go through it in a second. But what are your thoughts?
So we're obviously waiting the Joel Embiid news, but I think it's a pretty straightforward slate. I think we'll see pretty condensed ownership like any 5-game slate, but I do think this slate presents some opportunities to get different without sacrificing too much of your upside. Obviously Jaylen Brown being out shots people to Jason Tatum that can make Darren Fox lower owned or something like that. Like there are some viable pivots on this slate that I don't think you're going to sacrifice too much safety or upside in your lineup.
Yeah. So let's dive in. We'll answer your questions if it's relevant to the game. If not, then we'll answer at the end. But we got 5 games here. Joe, first game, Boston and Houston. We got the news Jaylen Brown is out. We also got the news that Romeo Langford is out too. Just sort of relevant. I mean, he doesn't get many minutes, but we did get the note that Dennis Schroeder is going to start. So what are your original thoughts, and are you on the Schroeder train today?
So I get the Schroeder play. Yeah, I'm a single entry player. I'm not playing him on either FanDuel, DraftKings, or SuperDraft. I think him getting inserted into the starting lineup is actually bad for him because he's such a high usage player. Now he's going to be playing alongside Marcus Smart and Jason Tatum a little more. So if anything, it makes me like Josh Richardson a little more because if Josh Richardson entered the starting lineup, I think we would have seen his ownership absolutely balloon. Without that being the case now, I'm drawn to him quite a bit at I think he's 4,100 on DraftKings, 4,200 on FanDuel. I think Schroeder's fine, but I just think his floor is a little lower than I would like to stomach on this slate.
Yeah, I think I'm just gonna run. So I have about 4 main lineups and then a bunch of GPPs, and I think I have Schroeder in one of those 4. So I'm not too on it. The guy to focus on is Tatum. I mean, are we finally gonna see a Tatum game? Everything leans to yes because it's Houston. My fear is a blowout, Joe. Are you worried about that at all? I think they can get there with Tatum, but I'm a little scared there.
I think that a blowout is obviously in the cards whenever Houston's involved in a game, but with the Celtics not having Kemba anymore, Jaylen Brown being out, like things are in Houston's favor to keep it close enough. If this game ends 7, 8, 9 point difference, I think they'll be close enough for 4 quarters that we can still get there from everybody.
Yeah, so we'll talk about then what you like from the Boston side. Is it just Tatum and move on, or is there anybody else you're liking?
So it's Josh Richardson and Tatum are my core plays from Boston, but I really like Marcus Smart quite a bit. I would not play Smart and Schroeder in the same lineup. I would probably not play Richardson and Schroeder in the same lineup. In the order of priority, I think I would go Tatum's like a very clear runaway top play. He's a top overall play on the slate for me. And then, which I hate to say because it's how Jason Tatum slates typically go. So I think it would be Tatum in his own tier, and then Richardson, Smart, Schroeder.
How much Smart are you gonna play? Because as of right now, I have 0 in my 20 lineups.
I'm a single entry player, so I don't have him in either of my lineups on the sites, but I have him on SuperDraft. I think he's 1.55x. If I were running 5 lineups, I'd probably have him in
1. Okay. Yeah. I mean, I don't have him in 1, and we will randomly get a Marcus Smart game, and it could be today. We don't know. But we're going to see a lot of blowouts with Houston and Orlando this year, which we'll touch on next. But turning around then from the Houston side, we saw Christian Wood, pretty much a ceiling game from him last game. Anybody that you're liking here? Because I like Jalen Green, and I know we're going to talk about this Jalen Green versus Jaylen Suggs debate. You can play both, but what are your thoughts here on Jalen Green?
I like him. I like Jalen Green quite a bit. I like him a lot more on DraftKings than I do on FanDuel. On FanDuel, he's only $500 cheaper than Kevin Porter. At that point, I would just recommend getting out Kevin Porter Jr. But the difference in price, I think it's like almost $2,000 on DraftKings. I like him quite a bit. I think you can play him alongside Jaylen Suggs. But we haven't really seen Jalen Green in that like takeover mode that we saw at times in preseason, and I think that's coming at some point. My only concern is Marcus Smart going to be his primary defender, or is Marcus Smart going to be Kevin Porter Jr.'s primary defender? Because, I don't think matchup trumps everything, but obviously it will make life more difficult for him. I would probably prefer whoever Marcus Smart's not on, but I'm not going to knock Jalen Green today at his price.
Yeah, so I think he'll be on Kevin Porter. There's a few people that I don't want to play because of potentially their matchup. I don't like to play against guys that Kyle Lowry is going to cover, that Marcus Smart's going to cover. And why would Marcus Smart be covering Jalen Green over Kevin Porter? I mean, Kevin Porter's a more dynamic player, but I don't know. I just feel like Schroeder will be on Green and vice versa, but we don't know. I'm going to play it as if he is on Porter Smart because, at that price, I'm not playing much Porter.
Yeah,
he did really well last game. Are you going to have any exposure to Porter here, or are you fading him?
Not on FanDuel, or excuse me, not on DraftKings. I don't. He's $6,000 flat on FanDuel, which I think is an egregious price for his upside. Where that makes a much stronger play, especially because he's point guard and small forward eligible. So between flexibility and price, it's really hard to pass on him on a 5-game slate.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. I'm not too heavy on the Rockets guys, really. I think Green's a fair price, especially on DraftKings. He's the same price as Suggs. Christian Wood's a little expensive. Porter's a little expensive. If they keep it close, it could be because of one of Porter or Wood. But I'm banking on this game actually blowing out, and it's going to blow out because of Tatum. That's why. Can't predict it, right?
If that's the case, I'll absolutely love it. I actually have on FanDuel, I have a 4-man stack, not of one team, dear Lord. But I have a Tatum, Richardson, Kevin Porter Jr., and Christian Wood stack on FanDuel. I'm hoping the game stays close. But if it blows out, if it's Tatum, I'm okay with it.
Yeah, for sure. Cool. Anything else that you like from this game? I guess rank your top plays from this game, if anything.
I think Tatum's number 1. 2 on FanDuel would be Kevin Porter Jr. 2 on DraftKings would probably be Josh Richardson, then Jalen Green. We haven't really touched on Robert Williams, who I'm seeing getting absolutely steamed around the industry right now on other sites and projection models. I understand the upside, and I get, Al Horford starting beside him obviously helps him, but I don't think he hits 30 minutes, what you want him to do. I think he needs one of his outlier games at his price in terms of stocks to really break the slate. And I just don't, I'm like DraftKings, I'd rather play Rashawn Holmes for cheaper. I'd rather play Steven Adams and save a ton of money than Robert Williams. So I get the Robert Williams love. He's not my favorite play in this game, and at his price, certainly not what I'm prioritizing. Peyton Pritchard, too, is 3-3. I don't hate it just because their lack of depth, but that's like a large field tournament dart at best to me.
Yeah, I don't think he's just too expensive. And with Horford there, I think I want to see him. With Horford there, we saw that his ceiling was a little lower.
Yeah.
Horford's minutes are getting bumped up, but it's not going past 30. No interest in Horford at all for you, Joe. I'm fading him. I don't think I'll play Horford one time this year until Time Lord's out, maybe. But any love there?
Not really. I mean, we got the report that he should be limited to 30 minutes. That could mean he plays 30 minutes. Could mean he plays 21 minutes. So there's just no point in my opinion.
Yeah. Moving on. Cool. Let's move on to Orlando and New York. Potentially another blowout. Orlando's going to be one of the worst teams in the NBA. Joe, I'm getting, as I research it more and more, I'm loving Julius Randle today. 0% of people are talking to him. I have not seen one person tout him today across the industry. I've looked at 5-6 different sites. I've looked at our own. Nobody's talking about him. I wrote him up because no one's talking about him. And even in a blowout against Orlando last time around, he got 30 minutes, almost 50 DK points. He's priced at 8,700, which I think is too cheap. If this game
Yeah.
for some reason does stay close, this guy can break the slate. So do you have as much Julius Randle love as I do? Because I don't think
I
you
do.
do.
No, he's not my single entries, but I'm right now kind of working on getting him in there. Like looking at Kyle's projections, he's 15.9% projected on FanDuel and 28.6 projected on DraftKings. You have to keep in mind, in terms of context of the slate, 5-game slate, that's pretty low. Like 15% owned player on a slate is pretty damn low. We talk about it all the time. Tibbs runs his guys into the ground. They won this game. They won by 25 last time they played, I think 2 days ago. And Julius Randle saw 30 minutes, so lower than his typical output, but he still had 21, 10, and 7 and 2 steals in that game. So I'm kind of looking at that output as the lower end and a bit of a floor here. I took his I believe I took his over 5. Yeah, I took his over 5.5 assists on the bet tracker. So I love Julius Randle today. And like you said, I think he's a perfect pivot off of Jason Tatum, who's probably going to siphon all that ownership away from him.
Yeah, or just play both. I just think he's too cheap. Honestly, he is just like his prices should never be this. He should be a 10K guy. He's a triple double risk. We saw him face Orlando recently where he crushed them. I don't know, man. I just think that this is a perfect spot. And he could potentially have single digit ownership too. So I don't know. I like him a lot. I find it tough to get off of him. That's the only guy that I really like from the Knicks. I don't know. I've seen people talk about RJ Barrett, but anybody else you like from the Knicks here?
I don't hate RJ Barrett. Mitchell Robinson's fine in tournaments just because of that upside. But again, like I think people need to remember Mitchell Robinson still comes with a pretty significant floor. He had that monster game in the first game of the season. Price rose to, I think he was like 5,600 second game against Orlando, finished under 20 DK points. He's down to 5,300 now. He's not going to be a high volume guy. He shot 5 times each of the first 2 games. So unless he has, like, he had 9 rebounds. He just didn't have any blocks, but he's not, for him to really get there, you need one of those like 17 rebound games he had in the first game. So it's definitely doable, but I think it's you're kind of reaching for that top 5% outcome, which again, like I know you and I are both very high on Steven Adams. I've really come around to him over the last probably hour or two. With their prices so close, I can't go Mitch Rob there.
Yeah. The reason I see Steven Adams, I put this in my article, is like if they're gonna keep it close, they're gonna need his defense. He's one of the most underrated defenders in the league.
Oh yeah,
and he'll need to step up to play. I mean, he saw 27 minutes last game, and I'm pretty sure they limited him against the Clippers yesterday, knowing he was going to face off against AD today. So if they need him, he's got to play big minutes here. He saw 32 minutes in his opening game. I could see him going 30 minutes here. I don't know. It's the second end of the back-to-back, so maybe I'm wrong, but I don't know. Well, we can talk about it more. I'm getting ahead of myself. Anything that you like here from the Magic side? Talk me into Jaylen Suggs here.
So I like Jaylen Suggs. Again, like if you need a mid-range shooting or mid-range guard, really, I think he's a very, very solid option. He started both games, 30 minutes or more in both the first 2 games. And I mean, he struggled in preseason, but he's really struggled in the regular season. 3 for 14, 4 for 17, a combined 7 of 31 from the field. Like that is awful. But he shot 4 of 17, still ended up with almost 38 fantasy points, like 14 points, 8 assists, 7 rebounds. If he can provide that type of peripheral upside, if his shot does come around, if he hits say 10 of 17 from the field with that, like you're looking at almost a 50 burger right now. So I think the upside's there. Obviously not an ideal matchup, but the game I just talked about was against the same team. So I think he will garner some pretty, I don't say heavy ownership. He'll probably be 30% or more in single entry tournaments, which is pretty significant. But I think it's a play I'm fine if you have 5,200 left for your last guard. So I'm totally fine with Jaylen Suggs.
Yeah. And then another guy we'll talk about in a little bit is potentially Derek Favors. So we'll see what happens with him. Because if he starts, he's going to be a core guy for me.
He is starting. So, Derek Favors is starting.
Is it confirmed?
Yeah, it came out. Underdog tweeted it.
I gotta play him then. Jesus Christ. I really don't want to.
Is this a sexy 7? Is this a sexy 7 though?
No, I said he'd replace Adams, but maybe I'll just play both,
Yeah, fair.
And it's called the sexier 7, all right, Joe? Come on, get it right. Jesus. Is this your first time here? No, I'm kidding. Cool. So I guess rank your preference in this game. What do you like the best?
In the game overall, I'd probably go Randall, Suggs, Bamba, Barrett, and then like a Fournier or someone like that.
The
I
Fournier.
actually like Mo Bamba's upside. Mo Bamba's playing really well to open the season. He's expensive, but I hope that kind of turns people off of him. But he's starting alongside. He's starting at the 4, which is ridiculous. But he's playing really well and filling up the stat sheet. So I like Mo Bamba quite a bit as well. I also don't mind Franz Wagner on FanDuel. 4K should play in the 20s and minutes. And if there is a blowout, he'll get the run. So again, 4K, it's hard to do worse than Franz Wagner.
Wagner, probably.
Wagner.
Wagner. Yeah, I like Wendell Carter a little bit. Like we've been seeing him start at the 4 and 5, and he's cheaper than Bamba here. So I'll have minimal exposure to them. I think the guy is Suggs for me more than anything else, and Randall. This is not my favorite game. I just fear a blowout. Plus, I want to focus elsewhere. So Randall and Suggs, and move on for me. Cool. You ready to move on to the next game? It's gonna be a fun one here.
Let's do it.
Philadelphia and OKC. Derek Favors is starting, so he is part of my sexier 7 now, I guess you can say, or you can just replace him with Adams. We have no news on Embiid yet. People think he's going to play. Drummond is ruled out, so that's kind of big.
If he doesn't play, I mean, if Embiid doesn't play, it's all aboard B-ball Paul train, who is a shooting guard on FanDuel. So Paul Reed, minimum price on both sites would kind of just become a lock and move on play. Tobias Harris would be a smash play. Tyrese Maxey would be a smash play. That would really change the magnitude of the entire slate. But I'm operating under the assumption that Embiid's going to play. Again, this is just knee soreness. It's not anything super. I'm not going to say super serious because it's Embiid and he's made of glass. But I do think he plays. I think he plays, and he might only play 30 minutes. But in that scenario, like it's almost too risky to run out B-ball Paul in like a one lineup if Embiid's active in any capacity. If he's active, I think Embiid's he's a risky tournament play, but I think he's a very high upside, obviously, tournament play. But I don't really if he plays, like I'm not chomping at the bit to get any Sixers into my lineup just because I think this game gets out of hand. I think there are better spots, but I think if you do want to play some Sixers, I think Tobias Harris is fine. I think Tyrese Maxey remains a great play as long as long as he remains below 6K, he's going to be a great play. But outside of if Embiid's active, outside of those 3, or if Embiid's outside of like those 2 and Paul Reed, I don't have much interest in Philadelphia. And I think going back to Derek Favors quick, I think you're kind of turning me on to Derek Favors over Franz Wagner right now.
I mean, it's just
debating.
Yeah, it just makes sense for me because I think you can use the salary relief, and it's a phenomenal spot. So that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, well, when you go through, as you talk through your thoughts about the Sixers, I'm going to load up Kyle's projections and see what he has Derek Favors projected from a minute standpoint. So you just said they're updated.
Let's see. Yeah, pull that up. So, yeah, for me, Derek Favors, he didn't start the last time. They decided to go smaller here. But, I mean, in a blowout last game, or in his first game when he did start, he still got 20 minutes here. And he had 18 DK points, 4 points, 9 rebounds. He's going to fill up the stat sheet here. It was against Utah, too, which, Gobert, no walk in the park, obviously. And now he might get Joel Embiid, or I would love Favors even more. Like, I would almost lock him in if Embiid is out because that matchup is going to be good. I mean, it's a tougher matchup. It's still a tough matchup against Embiid here, but it's still a way to exploit it. So I love Favors. I think either way, I'm going to say. Because I just think
Favors right now, Kyle has him projected for 18 minutes, 17.18 fantasy points. I think that's the thing is like, I think to your point, I think on the offensive end, he has an advantage if B-ball Paul starts and Embiid's out, but I almost think they might lean on him a little more if Embiid's in. And we could see those minutes creep up towards 25, maybe. Again, this is a complete shot in the dark, but Favors is a big center that could potentially combat Embiid down low. So if they want to try and slow him down, Favors might be the answer, which might be like if them starting Favors is any indication, they might expect Embiid to play.
Yeah. I mean, they might need his defense too against Embiid too. So keep that in mind. So there's multiple there's multiple reasons to love Favors here. I think defensively, if they're going to keep this close, he's going to have to play. Even if he doesn't play, like if Embiid doesn't play, they might still need his defense here against whoever's going to start at the 5. But I will like Paul Reed. I've seen some talk about Niang here, sorry. Georgie's here if he might get some more minutes here. So yeah, I mean, I think that this is just a good spot to go Favors if you need it. But for me, the focus is still around Steven Adams here, which we'll talk about shortly. God, I hate that I'm going to bring up his name here, but Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Joe. I get he's cheap. I get it. It's a good matchup too, and if they're going to keep it close, he needs to step it up. But this guy to start the year has been ass, right? Straight up booty, right? 33 minutes, 26 DK points, 26 minutes his last game, 19 DK points. He's not going to fill up the stat sheet with steals and blocks. His thing is going to be points, and if he's not scoring, he's going to be useless to us. So I mean, I don't know. Talk me into it, Joe. Is it just price? Is that why?
It's a price play, but it's also an upside play. Like as much as you have this disdain for SGA, which I understand. You know, I suffered from the SGA issue numerous times last year. I've suffered from it once this year. We have seen that 50 to 60 DK point upside, which on a 5-game slate, if you're looking in the 6K range, he's maybe the only player that actually has it. So I again, if this were a 10-game slate and he was still sitting around, like to Herm's point, if he was sitting around 30-40% ownership on a 10-game slate, I'd probably be like veering away from it. But a 5-game slate, 30% projected ownership, given his upside, I am okay with it. I actually think this is like a favorable matchup for him with Ben Simmons out. Like, I'm assuming he sees a lot of Matisse Thybulle, who I think is one of the most overrated defenders in basketball.
Is it overrated?
Overrated, yeah.
Oh, nice.
Watch Maxey play. The foul, he chases ball handlers. They stop. He runs into them. He either gets a steal or gets a foul. That's his defensive strategy. I could go on for hours about why I think Matisse Thybulle is an overrated defender, but I think that, I mean, regardless, even if he is as good as people say he is, it's a more exploitable matchup than Ben Simmons would be. So I do like SGA quite a bit. Tyreek's about to come for my neck in chat right now.
He already did.
God damn it. But I like SGA here. If I'm looking elsewhere on OKC, Favors is fine as a punt. You know, Eddie and Zach continue to be behind Josh Giddey, who I don't hate, but I would almost, if you're scripting this game to blowout, I'd probably like Josh Giddey more, which the blowout is very possible and very real if Embiid is in. And then I'm okay with Lu Dort if you're not playing SGA, but he's just a player that like it's really just scoring or bust with him. So you need to kind of be off the. I wouldn't, if I'm running a single lineup, 5 lineups, 10 lineups, I probably would not have any Lu Dort. If I'm running 150, I'll have some Lu Dort.
Yeah, I think I have one lineup with him. It's going to be very minimal SGA, but I'll have some. And if I take it down, guys, I'll buy an SGA jersey just for y'all. Anybody else from OKC that you like? I feel like we've kind of hammered here OKC a bit.
I don't think so. Like Darius Bazley, I'm good on passing on. Isaiah Roby's not starting, so he's hard to trust. Yeah, I'm good on OKC past that.
Yeah, for sure. So let's talk here. You already talked about it, but let's just give hypotheticals. If Embiid is in, who are you playing from the Sixers?
If Embiid's in, my priority would go Maxey, Tobias Harris, Embiid. If Embiid's out, it's Paul Reed, Tobias Harris, Maxey.
Okay.
And I'd probably get two of those three in every lineup.
I don't hate that. I think that's perfectly fine. I think I'd probably go the same route, but let's wait and see. I'm sure we'll have breaking news as we're going through this show. Cool. Let's move on. Golden State and Sacramento. I'm hearing a lot of talk about Steph Curry's going to be alone today. I've been seeing it in chat too. I think it's phenomenal. Like I said it last night. People were like 11,000 Curry's too much. I'm like, listen, no one's going to play him at 11,000. I love him. This is a phenomenal spot. Two very fast-paced teams and two teams that struggle defensively. So I know it's tough to get Curry, but I like him here, especially at that ownership. Joe, are you playing him into any of your single entries?
I'm not, But I'm not, simply because of the kind of route my builds took me and not being able to get up to 11K. But I think your point about his price kind of just deterring ownership makes him a very, very strong play. He's one of the, say, MB plays, one of like the 4 or 5 players on the slate that have a true ceiling of like 80 fantasy points. I honestly would not even put LeBron in that category anymore. I'd probably put him, Embiid, if he plays, but like I have a hard time seeing Embiid do that on this slate given his health and matchup. So it'd really be like him, Tatum, and AD, who are the 3 I'd say that have like 70 to 80 fantasy point true ceiling upside. So I like him quite a bit. I actually like him a lot. My thing right now, because I'm not playing Steph Curry in my single entry lineups, I'm making a priority of Jordan Poole in them. I want one of those 2 in my lineup.
Yeah. I don't hate that too. Somebody asked Gideon Favors or Melton and Bain.
That's the second for me for sure.
Yeah,
that's like a landslide, and I don't care about ownership there. That's like a landslide for me.
Yeah, I have so much Melton and Bain that it hurts my soul. But cool.
So I want to. T-Nib asks, worries with Davion Mitchell on Curry. I have zero concerns with a Hall of Famer being guarded by a rookie. Zero concerns.
Yeah, not concerned at all. Zero worries. Any love for Bielitsa? Not able to watch stream. I think Bielitsa's fine. We got the note that Andre Iguodala is out, and I just feel like Bielitsa is going to step up here and potentially close the game. So I'm a big fan of Bielitsa
offensively too. Would you be more inclined to play Bielitsa or Otto Porter?
Bielitsa. Yeah, we haven't seen. Sure. I mean, Otto Porter, he's just had injury after injury after injury, and they might be just taking him with baby steps here until he's fully healthy, or they get his legs under him. Somebody's saying he looks like the slowest basketball player ever.
Otto Porter. He looks like Otto Porter looks like Wilt Chamberlain. That's who he looks like.
Is it like Kyle Anderson slow mo? I don't know.
No, there is no one like Kyle Anderson slow mo.
Yeah, I like Bielitsa. So from this game, I have a ton of exposure to Damien Lee at 3,500. I just think he's a fine punt option. You might not need to get there, but if you're playing Curry, you might need it also. So I do like Damien Lee. No thanks to Jordan Poole because he's not going to be closing the game. Maybe he does today, but I'm not on it. Bielitsa and Curry. So it's Damien Lee, Bielitsa, Curry from the Golden State side. And then on the other side, I love Darren Fox. I find it tough. He was one of the guys that I clicked first going into my placeholders. And it's just a phenomenal matchup. So I love going like a little mini stack here of Fox, Curry, Lee, Bielitsa. I even have Harrison Barnes in a little like 5-person stack. So it's a lot. It's very expensive, and you have to fade Tatum and everything else. But there's enough value here where you can do that. Talk to me about De'Aaron Fox. Do you have as much love as I do?
I do. I love De'Aaron Fox because I really don't think he's going to be popular, and I think that's the most beautiful appeal of him. Like, you look at where he thrives, and it's these up-tempo matchups. We talk about the pace advantage all the time. Sacramento's 5th in pace right now. Golden State's 1st. It's very hard to find a pace-up spot for De'Aaron Fox, but this is one of them. So I think you need to take advantage. So I really do like De'Aaron Fox quite a bit. My favorite king, dollar for dollar, though, is Rashawn Holmes at 5.9. I think that's simply too cheap. I think the pricing algorithm reacted to him fouling out in that second game. Only played 19 minutes. I think without Marvin Bagley, I think all of us can agree that like Rashawn Holmes is not a 19-minute per game player. This is an undersized, even with Kevon Looney, an undersized front court who Rashawn Holmes has seen quite a bit. As I'm talking, I'm gonna double check what his game log looks like against Golden State. But I just think 5.9 is simply too cheap for a player with a 50 fantasy point or more ceiling. Like, I would probably put his median projection around like 35 or 37 today, which I can pull up. I'm not sure what Kyle has in that. I also just don't think Rashawn Holmes is going to be popular whatsoever. Do you like Harrison Barnes? Because Russell Miller is all over Harrison Barnes. So for reference, the last year that Rashawn Holmes saw more than 30 minutes against the Warriors, he posted a 25 and 11 double-double with 2 blocks in 32 minutes. So if he gets time, he's going to smash, and I like that.
Yeah, no, I think that's a great call. I love it quite a bit. And we're also seeing
also Gary Harris ruled out. That helps Jaylen Suggs and Franz Wagner.
There we go. Jaylen Suggs season. So I guess I just saw Russ's post now, and he's saying,
Yeah, everyone's there too.
key to me on the slate is key fades are Steven Adams and Jaylen Suggs. Well, we just said we
Well,
like
I'm
them.
not fading Steven Adams in my single entry, but I get it. I understand from an ownership standpoint. I understand the fade.
Listen, I just think that he could. I understand it's the second night of a back-to-back, and he's an older guy, but if this game's going to stay close, right, Steven Adams needs to be there on defense. He has to be there on defense. Who else? You're not going to put Jaren Jackson Jr. on AD, are you?
That will follow in 10 minutes if he's
exactly.
On the court.
Yeah, I mean, and plus AD's going to play the 5, so we'll see DeAndre Jordan and Dwight Howard a little bit, but I don't know. I just feel like Steven Adams is needed mainly for his defense, and from there he'll get his peripheral stats. Joel Embiid is in. He will start. So,
Joel Embiid? No. Good. That makes this way easier. I'm very, very happy about that.
I don't need to change shit. Thank God. There we go. So Joel Embiid is in. Harrison Barnes is priced a little high, but he's going to be virtually in single digit ownership because of that. But this guy in 2 games has hit 58 DK points and 49 DK points. I chase.
What the hell is going on? Like, I'm not. So what am
right at the hot streak.
Kings fan. I'll have to. Russell Miller is like hell bent on the fact that he's going to be an 8K plus player this year. I mean, I'm not saying he's not going to be, but like, I don't think his current production levels keep up. Like right now, Kyle has him projected for 8% ownership. Is this on? Oh, it's on FanDuel. Let me go to DraftKings quickly. I can't imagine it's higher than that. His FanDuel, I did not look because I didn't even consider playing him. Right now on DraftKings, he's projected for 8.07% ownership, 31 fantasy points, which, at 7.3 is not what you want, but ceiling projection of 41.3, I think that's obviously low considering what we've seen in the last 2 games. So I don't hate it. I don't love it whatsoever. I would much rather play Fox Holmes. I think I can't say I'd rather play Halliburton, but I'd definitely rather play those first 2 more than Harrison Barnes.
Yeah. Someone's asking, play Randall over Tatum if you're already playing Jay Rich and Time Lord. I mean, you can definitely play Tatum there, but
you can play Tatum there, but to get different because you already have 2 probably popular Celtics, I'd go Randall. AD or Harrison Barnes on SuperDraft.
You have to play AD.
Well, I think you do. I'm going to double check what are their multipliers because some of them are egregious right now. I'll pull up my SuperDraft in a bit. Speaking of SuperDraft, if you have not signed up using promo code FTN for the $100 deposit bonus, it's an instant. It's not a drip deposit, so it's instant, so you get it right away. And they are the wonderful sponsors of our show.
Yeah. Check it out. I like talking about SuperDraft. I think Darren Fox is one of the top plays in there, by the way. I don't know if you guys have looked at that.
I think what is he, 1.2?
Yeah, 1.25 actually.
Yeah, that's one of my core plays. I think him and D'Anthony Melton is 1.8 are 2 of my core plays on SuperDraft right now.
Yeah. Yep, I agree with you 100%. Cool. Anything else from this Golden State game that you like?
No, I think we hit it pretty well.
Cool. Let's get on now to the juicy game, right? I say it's the juicy game because we had the big 3 of the Lakers. What is the tweet that said? Alex Caruso is undefeated without LeBron, and LeBron is defeated.
Okay, the Bulls look really good. The Bulls look very good. They're a very fun team to watch, but it's nothing to do with
easy matchups. They've had easy matchups, so yeah. But I do like what they've done too. They're set up to be very successful here. But talk to me about what you're liking here in this Memphis and Lakers game. No news of anybody being out, really, at least nobody relevant. And Memphis coming into the second day of a back-to-back.
Yeah, so let's hit on Memphis first. I think the obvious value plays in D'Anthony Melton and Desmond Bane are just not quite as strong as they were yesterday because obviously they are more expensive, but relative to the 5-game slate, just as strong as yesterday. If I had to choose one, I'm choosing D'Anthony Melton. I think running both of them in a lineup is totally fine. We saw that work yesterday just fine. I just think of the 2, D'Anthony Melton is more likely to keep up the current volume that he's producing at more than Desmond Bane. I don't think Desmond Bane is going to finish this season as a 15 field goal per game guy. Obviously, Dylan Brooks coming back won't help that, but I think he'll gravitate more towards like 8, 9, 10 shots a game. I absolutely love both of them. I love Steven Adams. I think to your point, I think they're going to need his defense, and I think they scaled back his minutes yesterday strategically. I think he only played. I have to double check. I want to say he only played 26 minutes yesterday.
It was like 26, 27 minutes. Yeah.
Yeah, he played 32 first game, 27 minutes yesterday. I think part of that was strategic, knowing that, okay, look, like we have another game tomorrow. Albeit they didn't have to do – I don't think they traveled because I think they did not travel because they played at the Clippers yesterday, which helps, but he's also 33, 34. I think 27 minutes is a floor today, and we saw yesterday what he does in that time. So at his price, Steven Adams is my favorite dollar for dollar center on DraftKings. My only hindrance that it's going to be a very popular line of thought.
Yeah, but I mean, if you want to spend up, I just don't see with the minutes Steven Adams, Melton, and Bane are getting. I just don't see how they don't crush. And again, it's not the easiest matchup for them against the Lakers, but the Lakers have been struggling here defensively. It just seems like they're not meshing well with the new big three of the NBA right now. But maybe in due time. But for me, I'm just not. I don't see a path how we don't do it. So that's why I'm on it. That's why I'm going to stick to Bane, Melton, and Ad. I'm playing all of them. I'll have minimal exposure to John Moran too, but he'll be the last guy. He'll probably be the odd man out for me. Him and Jaren Jackson. So, what about from the Lakers? Which of the big three are you playing today? Is it AD,
Anthony
LeBron,
Davis.
or is it Westbrook?
It's AD. And I would prioritize them in the exact order you just said. Like, I get the appeal. I like LeBron James at 9,100. That's a very nice play. My only thing, LeBron for 2 years now has been adamant about how this offense runs through Anthony Davis. And I took the dumb route. I wanted to wait and see how this would happen with Russell Westbrook. I didn't get enough. I got AD on the first slate, but I didn't get enough of him. Mm-hmm. He's top 50 DK points in both games. He's played I think the most important part, he's played 38 and 39 minutes in those two games, at least 18 field goals in all. He's had a double-double in both games. 6 stocks total. Like, this is the AD, this is the prime AD that we have come to love. If he stays healthy, and knock on wood, AD is my favorite play here. But I would then follow it up with LeBron, then Russell Westbrook. I'm also, as you know, just an anti-Russell Westbrook guy.
You see, for on FanDuel, I tend to agree with you that AD is the play over LeBron. But on DraftKings, LeBron's $300 cheaper. Not that it matters. And I feel like LeBron has a better matchup defensively. AD is going to get Jaren Jackson. He's going to foul him out in 4 minutes. And then potentially he's going to get Steven Adams. And Steven Adams, like I said, I don't like him defensively. But, it is AD. He's nobody can cover AD. He's one of the best on here. But maybe Steven Adams gives him fits here. So I don't know. I don't think Steven Adams is going to be on him the whole game because then Steven Adams' legs are going to fall off. But I think he's going to cover him a good portion here, especially when AD runs at the 5. So I don't know. I'm a little skeptical. I'm not going to say I'm skeptical on AD. I still think he's a phenomenal play, and I'm going to have a ton of exposure. But if it's LeBron versus AD, I am hearing that the ownership is more towards LeBron, which I don't believe that. Not for one thing.
I don't believe that. I don't believe that either.
I think AD is going to have the ownership over LeBron, and because of that, I'm on LeBron today. I'm sorry, guys. Yeah. I know none of you guys want to hear that.
I won't argue that. Like, I really won't argue the play. I get it. I think we can both agree. We prefer both of them over Russell Westbrook. The thing is, you also look at guard. If you're paying up for Russell Westbrook, just play Darren Fox. That's what I would do. And if you're paying all the way up, just play Curry. I would prefer both those guys way over Russell Westbrook. And T-Nim saying Adams covers DeAndre Jordan, JJJ covers AD. You're not wrong, but you also have to remember DeAndre Jordan plays 12 minutes a game. So, who's guarding Anthony Davis those other 26 to 30 minutes? It's going to be mostly Steven Adams because he's the best post defender on that team. What about, are you looking at any Lakers outside of those three? I'm not. I don't think there's any point.
0%. It's just one of those three guys, and that's it for me. That's funny.
Zach.
Yeah. Let's touch on this. So you said Holmes versus Time Lord, and you said Holmes over Time Lord, and I agree too. But I'll let you describe it.
Yeah. So I think that if you get both their true ceilings, I think Time Lord has the higher true ceiling. Simply because last year we saw a 10 stock game from Time Lord. I think Holmes is in a more favorable matchup, pace up spot, which again you rarely see for the Kings. Which means extra possessions. He's going to operate as probably number 3, maybe number 2 guy on offense. But been a point per minute machine, and I think he has a higher minutes upside, assuming he stays out of foul trouble than Time Lord does. Holmes could legitimately get to 38, 39 minutes. I don't think Time Lord gets there. So I also, the other thing factoring in for me, I mean, last I checked, Time Lord was projected to be more popular. Let me double check right now. Robert Williams projected for 28% ownership. Rashawn Holmes projected for 8% ownership. So I am way higher on Rashawn Holmes simply off of that fact than anything else.
Yeah, it's an ownership play for me too. I think they both have similar ceilings if they get the minutes, which they both could. But I think the better chance of a ceiling game for me, in my opinion, is Holmes here. So just it's a better matchup.
Does have like Robert Williams, and that's not to exactly. It's not to discount Robert Williams' matchup. Centers do whatever they want against Houston, but you also have to think like one of the other angles I'm taking is that I'm playing Christian Wood. If Christian Wood's going to succeed, there's a chance it comes at the expense of Robert Williams defensively. If that's the case, I would just much rather play Rashawn Holmes, who's unaffected by that.
Yeah, and not only that, if you think about it, also I feel the pace of the game for Golden State and Sacramento is going to be faster, and because of that, 100%. More opportunity for Holmes. So that's how I see it.
Holy cow! Cooper Kupp scored again.
What else?
10 catches, 156 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Yeah, what's new?
Yeah, what else is new? Back to basketball here. Although I really miss my football, and I'm also watching the movie Dune. I don't know if you've seen that, but I've been watching it. Yeah, new movie.
So why don't we get to like? There's a lot of questions lining up in the Discord. So
let's do that.
I can read them off. Someone said, "What about John Moran?" That is one player we didn't hit on. John Morant's, I think his usage rate's at like 32% right now, which is great. I do worry about this matchup defensively for him. I think they could throw LeBron at him. And the thing is, I know the memes about LeBron not getting back on D and stuff. He's still a good on-ball defender. My big thing with Jaws, I'd just much rather play Darren Fox. Like, I just think at this point there's direct pivots who are in stronger spots. I think his ceiling's there, but I wouldn't expect constant 30-point outings from John Morant, especially in a Lakers are running the second fastest pace in the league right now, and that is the Russell Westbrook effect. But they were like bottom 10 in pace last year, so there's a chance it comes back to earth a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think for me, what it boils down to is I just prefer other spend up spots over Ja. I just prefer the value for Memphis more than anything else. Cool. Anything else? Let's see. I've been trying to answer some questions, but I can just read them here. So
let's see.
Mitchell and Bielitsa.
Oh, sorry. Mitchell and Bielitsa?
No, there's a few that I missed before that. Sorry.
You read them off. Okay.
Yeah, it's favors for me. I think you're on favors too, right?
Yep. Of those ones, yeah. Yep.
B. Jelly or Adams? Ooh, that's a tough one.
Adam. Or Steven Adams?
Yeah.
Steven Adams.
Yeah, me too. Let's see here. How do you guys feel about Giddey? So I wrote up Giddey as a value option, but he's towards the bottom there. I just prefer other spend down options over Giddey. Also, Tatum, Fox, AD, solid for spend up in single entry. Yeah, 100%. Is Tatum a lock for you? Seeing people say other Celtics. I wouldn't say he's a lock, but I'm going to have a ton of exposure to him. Do you have him in both your single entry lineups?
I do. But again, if I'm playing single entry, I'm playing Jason Tatum. Simply because, if he busts against 35, he's going to be high owned enough where it really won't hurt you. But if you fade him and he actually has a ceiling game of like 70 plus fantasy points, there's absolutely no way you're making any money. So I'm playing Jason Tatum in single entry. Once you get to like 10, I would probably start. If I'm playing 150 lineups, I'd probably get him at like 40, 45%. I still think there's a chance you could be under the field depending on the size of your tournament. But otherwise, I'd probably just match the field.
SGA, say you love him. No, I'm not saying it, guys. Let's see. Somebody asked about Sengun. I don't know how to say his name.
Yeah, Alperen Sengun or something like that.
Sengun. There we go. Sengun.
I think, and this is a situation again, because I'm playing Christian Wood. I'm not going to play him because they don't correlate well. But if you are scripting this where the Rockets just get absolutely blown out of the building by the Celtics without Jaylen Brown, and you're fading Christian Wood, I think Sengun could be good for 20, 25 minutes. My only thing is I'm not scripting the game this way. I don't think this game blows out enough for him to get 25 minutes. I think this game probably ends a 10 to 12 point deficit, but I think the Thunder hang around long enough, or excuse me, the Rockets hang around long enough to, allow their stars like KPJ, Christian Wood, Jalen Green to get there.
Yep, for sure. Let's see. Shengun. Yeah, whoops.
Easy B asks, Favors and Barnes, their favorites Harrison Barnes or Rashawn Holmes and Steven Adams?
I said the two centers.
Yes, Holmes and Adams for me as well. J-Win for UVA is saying, did I miss the sexy six?
I just posted on there. So I got Fox, LeBron, Steven Adams, Bane, Melton, Tatum, and Favors. So I added a 7.
Ours are similar. I have a sexy 6. I have 6 players that are in both in my single entry on FanDuel and DraftKings. Let me pull it up. My sexy 6 is Jordan Poole, DeAnthony Melton, Josh Richardson, Anthony Davis, Jason Tatum, and SGA. So I know SGA is never going to sniff your sexy 6.
Gross. Never have him as a sexy 6.
60. He's just too cheap for me. And I know I'm probably going to come back in a couple hours and just be pissed off, but it is what it is.
Yeah, I expect the tilt soon. Don't worry.
Let me look for other questions we may have missed. The AARP Lakers are tough to commit to. They are, and apparently they're fighting on the bench now. Max's play of the day is Anthony Davis for Anthony. I put that in the Discord earlier. Maybe I didn't update it, but yeah. Does Halliburton in his performance last game, were you guys at all with Fox? Fox seemed okay letting Halliburton run point when they were both on the court. I don't think that hurts me a lot. I think we're going to get Darren Fox running point and taking the ball up the court 80% of the time. I'm fine with him playing off ball when Tyrese Halliburton's on the court. At the end of the day, it's De'Aaron Fox's team.
Yep, it is definitely De'Aaron Fox's team. So that's why I'm over Fox. I'll let people chase Halliburton. That's what I'm saying. What's the Max Metz play of the day? We didn't see it. Did we see that? Did you post that?
I'm gonna respond to the GIF right now, but it's Anthony Davis.
Damn. And I like LeBron. This sucks. I mean, I have a ton of Anthony Davis.
I like both of them. But let's see. Desmond Bane and Steven Adams or Derek Favors and Jordan Poole? I lean Bane and Adams.
Yeah, Bane and Adams.
Randall pivot off of Tatum. Very, very, very strong pivot. And Holmes or Horford, I think it's Holmes by a landslide.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have any interest in Al Horford. Is he getting ownership?
Yeah, maybe. Not doing it.
His ownership right now is 16%, double Rashawn Holmes. I will gladly take Rashawn Holmes. You know what? I'm gonna Anthony. I love Anthony Davis, but Max's play of the day is gonna be Rashawn Holmes.
Oh wow!
Yes, his play of the day is gonna be Rashawn Holmes. I'm throwing in Discord for people that he doesn't have a GIF. Unfortunately, Rashawn Holmes doesn't. That's weird. Let me update.
How many times has AD gone to the locker room this year? He's due. I mean, he is due.
He's not. Shut the fuck up. He's not. He is due. He is due. Don't even manifest. I don't want to hear any of that.
So aggressive, Joe.
Yeah, when people come at my neck regarding my son's play of the day. I'm just kidding. Let me see. Anthony said, should I be concerned with 3 Grizzlies? Fox, Melton, Bane, Tatum, Holmes, Richardson, Adams, Davis. No, I love that. That's a great lineup.
Yeah. I think it's a phenomenal lineup, too.
Yeah. Obviously, there's no SGA in there, so I can assume you have a very nice infatuation for it. A handful of people typing. I'm hoping they come with questions. Fournier revenge game? No.
Pass. No thanks.
Pass for me. I mean, the minutes are there, but if his bucket's not dropping, I don't know if I want anything to do with him. Holmes over 32 fantasy points on Prize Picks. Yeah, I like that a lot, Anthony. I do.
Everyone's saying, watch your language. Come on, it's a PG show. This is an interesting question. Ooh.
This is a good one. This is a good question. If you're referring to J0321s.
Yeah.
Wait, why did Horford just get put Horford just got put in my SuperDraft line. We do not want that. Holmes 1.35 or Barnes 1.45. Both?
But
I prefer that's actually tough.
That is very tough. I'm gonna chase Barnes because of the multiplier.
I think I'm going Barnes. I'm going with Barnes there. Any love for Mitchell Robinson?
No.
But before Mitchell Robinson, Jay, if you're looking at like just a forward, or I guess he's a center, I like Mo Bamba at 1.4 more than both of those in SuperDraft. I don't hate Mitchell Robinson, but I definitely don't have love for him. Like if I were MME, I definitely have some exposure, but I probably wouldn't top off more than 10 to 15%.
No. Cool.
Teenage typing right now. We've got a lot of this. Is Sunday. On a Sunday, it's great. I love it.
Yeah, no one's watching football. Look at
that. Is Max walking yet? He's actually, I give it 2 weeks and he's walking. He's standing by himself now. It's terrifying. Pick a Jaylen, Green or Suggs?
I said Green. You said Suggs earlier.
I actually think I lean Green. Everybody on Holmes and Embiid. I actually don't think anyone's on either of them. I don't know if you're watching the stream, but Holmes is projecting for 8% ownership. Embiid is projecting for 22. Holy Lord. That's a fade for me. Unpopular opinion, Green. Yeah, Russell. Did you said Jalen Green over Jaylen Suggs, right?
I did. I said Green. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I agree with those. I agree with those as well. Let's see. Jay Wynn put his lineup in there. Fox, Melton, Bay.
He took out. Yes, that boy. We took out SGA.
One of us is going to. So why don't we do a lunch bet on SGA? Some type of like hit it. What would the benchmark be? 35 DK points? Is that fair?
I don't know. You tell me.
I'm like nervous throwing that number out there. So let me look.
Yeah.
Let me just give me 1 second. I probably should be nervous too. Fuck, he's at 26 and 19. Oh god.
Let's say 37 and a half DK points.
Wow, that's high. 37. All right, fine. I have a lunch bet owed to me from Kawhi right now, from the Bucks covering 6.5 yesterday. So I will take that, and if I lose, Kawhi just transfers to you. No pressure. Why so little minutes last game for Holmes? He fouled out last game. He was in foul trouble. Just from the start of the game. So I think it's a matchup where you can actually avoid that, because if you look at the center on Golden State, Kevon Looney's not involved offensively. So I don't think he's going to be an on-ball defender much. B. Jelly or Steven Adams?
I'm on Adams, but B. Jelly.
They're both good plays. I think Bielitsa is a fine play, but I agree. I'm on Adams. I think Bielitsa, I gave him like 24 minutes today. I think that's more than enough for him to do a good amount of damage at his price. Do I want for 5,800?
Is your single lineup locked already?
Yeah, it is. I was just seeing if I should get off of Jordan Poole. I'm just gonna keep him. I'm fine with this price. Damien Lee and Holmes or Steven Adams and Dort. Lee and Holmes for me. I agree.
Yeah.
I don't. It's Dort's the odd one out there for me. BJ Adams love both, but Adams, yeah. Davion Mitchell over J. Rich. A lot of steal potential here for Davion. Poole's a turnover machine, and Curry is vulnerable.
I mean, if that's what you're chasing,
I think that's fine in a large field tournament. If like the rest of your lineup you think is very popular, I'm fine with that pivot. My biggest concern with Davion Mitchell over Josh Richardson, is minutes. Like, I think Josh Richardson has a legitimate chance to get like 10 more minutes than he does, which is a lot of production. DK, SGA, or Harrison Barnes? I will go Barnes there. I'll go Barnes there. Again, like for me, SGA is a price play. Like I don't trust me. I do not love it. There is not 1 ounce of me that loves it. Can I get off him right now? Let's find out. I can't. Son of a bitch. Okay. If you say SGA, I'll choose the other person. We have T-Nib typing as well. So we have like 5 minutes left. We have Mitchell played 32 minutes last game.
A rookie on Steph Curry. Yeah, come on now.
Again, that's my biggest. SGA or Davion, don't do this, Javi. Don't.
All right, I'll say SGA.
Andre Drummond, who's inactive, or SGA. Let's see what your answer is there. There, we got it. Someone screenshot Javi saying SGA. Drummond over. Never mind. Don't screenshot it. Yeah. Do you? I guess would you sit Ben Simmons or SGA? Would you? I mean, if you're playing 150 lineups, would you have any Paul Reed with Andre Drummond out? Embiid's obviously, but would you have any Paul Reed, knowing that he's probably the direct
I'd
backup center?
probably put like 3% maybe.
Okay.
There's no guarantee for minutes. It's like the tilt
Exactly.
with Hardenstein the other day. He didn't play a minute, right? And he should have. And he was a backup center. And then yesterday he just crushes and he gets
Yeah.
cut.
Kyle has Paul Reed for 13 minutes, 17.7 fantasy points, 8.5% ownership.
Yeah, I mean it could happen.
Hey, he's minimum price. You can do a lot. Like he's by far the best 3K play on the slate.
Yeah,
I just don't think it's a slate where you need to get down to 3K because there's just like the pricing. I don't know if I've seen a year where pricing has been this soft to open the season than this year.
It's been real soft.
It's
2
been
straight
really
weeks
bad.
of very soft pricing. So,
but the thing is, they're probably going to overcompensate and get very, very aggressive very shortly.
Probably, but I'm going to keep enjoying this until they fix it. So, I think honestly, weird stuff always happens. Yeah. So people are just going to be. They're not going to be on the news train as much. They're trying to do the showdown lineups for $1 million, and they're watching football. You'll get your occasional nerds there that are, optimizing and doing their crunches and all that, but no one's going to be paying attention to as much news as we are. We're here to help you guys out. Joe's here to help you out. I'm here to help you out. The other pros are here as well. Just know that there is an edge with Sundays.
Jay Wynn, he said missing any super draft musts. This is the only time I'll ever say this on stream. I don't think you're missing a thing because that's my same lineup. So I actually love his super draft lineup. Mo Bamba at 1.4x my favorite center. Yes, that is my super draft lineup. So yeah, good stuff.
There you go. Cool. So we'll knock out here. We guys, if you are an NFL sub, stay tuned. I don't think it's for another hour. Maybe it is.
Yeah, we have some time. I can pull it up. We have a couple people typing. So if there's a potential question, let me just pull up the schedule. Today is the 24th, and NFL Showdown tonight. There is a show. Yeah. There is a show, and it is. If I can go to it, dear Lord. Is there not? Maybe not. Maybe there's not a show.
All right, we're kidding, guys. There's no show, but there will be showdown articles for NFL. Are we fading SGA? Yes, no.
Both? Yes and no. Not me, but Javi is.
Well, there's no show, but make sure you guys check out all the articles. My article's up. My 66 is up for NBA today. I'm going for 3 for 3 in articles. Make sure SGA gets under 37.5 DK points too, so I win lunch. But Joe, we're gonna head out here. Lock is in 1 minute. If you guys have any questions, tag us in Discord. Joe, it's a pleasure. I think I'll see you next Sunday also. But yeah, for me, Javi Prellezo, Jay Prellezo, DFS, Joe Metz, J Metz 34. We're out. Good luck. Peace.